why we've created Rock the Dream, the mindset training, and we've kind of consolidate into like mindset, but then also practical stuff, because we know that some people just give me the goods, and some people want like what the mentality has to be to have success. So let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Or who has the giveaway thing?
Oh, the paper.
Yeah, where's the paper?
Katie, can you just like let me know when that's all filled out, and we'll do some giveaways
we'll
through
do a
this?
couple
I think
giveaways.
it's on this table. And you.
Okay, and then it's really important, does everybody have pen and paper?
Yeah.
That's here, okay, because we will have two
Or
different,
an iPad or something like that.
we'll have two different exercises that you will have to write. I know, like, if I was sitting in your position, I would hate that sentence. So you will have to write, and you will have to think. So just make sure you have paper, so that's good. All right.
Okay, so to get this started, we want to kind of tell you a little bit about what this whole Rock the Dream thing is, where it came from, why we started doing it. Because our goal today is to share with you guys that really, a lot of times we start off from a place that we come into this thing called Plexus or a business, and we're like, I want to get going. But then there's all these steps, there's all these things along the way that get in our way. And we've realized, as we've been growing up in this business the last 6.5 years, I call it growing up because I really feel like I've done a lot of growth, personal growth. As we've been coming up in this business, that there were all these little things that were firing off in our minds that wanted to stop us all along the way. And no matter how far you go, you still have them. But we want to try to help you eliminate as much of that as possible and learn what we've learned over the course of this, and really what we've been learning our whole life. And so we want to share with you guys a little bit about, we're going to share with you actually quite a bit of some of our story. And but hopefully we don't bore you with too much of our own story. But the whole point is we want you guys to know where we've come from and where we're going to, because we want to share with you guys how you can continue to do the same kind of thing by having the right mentality. And so this whole Rock the Dream thing came out of actually like 3 years ago. Somebody came to me and said that they wanted to have us out to speak, and they wanted us to just come out and share with people our hearts. We didn't have anything like this planned. So at first I was like, well, do you want us to talk about like Plexus stuff, or what do you want us to share? And they're like, no, we want you to share on like the mentality stuff. We want you to talk about what it takes to really go to the top. And so we were like, okay, I don't know where we would even start. And so we had to actually stop and think about what it is that we believe in. And we came up with this idea of Rock the Dream because we really believe that there's more to us than what meets the eye. We really believe that there's a difference between a dream and the dream. Okay? So I want you to write that down and underline the word the, because that's going to be a big point throughout this whole thing. There's a difference between a dream and the dream. A dream, we all know what a dream is. A dream is something that you can reach. It's a goal. It's something that can be attained. It's something that you can imagine out there, and you can possibly see yourself maybe doing it. Now, I will say, if it's not extreme, it's not a dream. Let me just make that point. If it's not extreme, it's not a dream, okay? But a dream is something that you can imagine. It's tangible, okay? But the dream is something different. The dream is something that isn't tangible. It can't be touched, tasted, smelt, felt, heard, none of that. The dream is something that's alive inside of you, that is telling you that there's more. It was placed in there, and you have nothing to do with the fact that it's there. We'll go more into that in just a little bit. So when we were trying to come up with what we wanted to share with everybody, with this group, we came up with this idea of Rock the Dream. We want to teach people what it means to rock the dream. Well, what does that entail? we realized that what it really means to rock the dream is to come to the realization of unlimited potential. You have unlimited, untapped potential. That sounds scary to some people to say that. You might have all kinds of thoughts go through your head when you think, well, I mean, I don't really have unlimited potential. No, you have unlimited, untapped potential. Okay? And what that really refers to is this idea that potential is something that you will always be able to find more and more and more and more of. See, a lot of times people, they think that they have to have this feeling in order to be able to accomplish something. They have to have this feeling in order to step out of their own way and get moving. A lot of times in our business, guys, how many times have you sat back in your chair, maybe in your office or at your kitchen table, or wherever you think to do your work, and you just don't feel like doing it? Anybody can relate to that?
Every day.
Okay? You just don't feel like doing it. You know you need to send the message, but you just don't feel like doing it. And so what you're looking for is a feeling. And why are we looking for this feeling? What is it that we need this feeling for? I honestly think that I've listened to a whole lot of people give me all the reasons why they don't do things. And I've got my own. Okay? I'm not saying everybody else doesn't. I don't. I do too. Okay? We've all got these reasons why we don't do things, but when it really boils down to it, what we're really feeling deep down inside that stops us, if we knew that we could do it, we'd all do it. But the problem is that we don't feel worthy. We don't feel like we're worthy enough to do it. So we don't believe it's attainable for us. That's the bottom line. We just don't believe it's attainable. So we sit and wait on the feeling to make us go, oh, no, you're worthy, and it's going to happen, and then that's what's going to move us forward. Guys, that's not the way that this works. You will not have the feeling before you do it. But there's a difference between feeling and belief. There's hope. There's hope because belief is different than a feeling. Belief is the ability to take action prior to the feeling. Because here's the thing about worthiness. You will feel worthy when you do the work. Okay? Let me say that again. If you're looking for the feeling of worthiness, none of us is worthy. Now that might hurt somebody's feelings. But I'm just telling you right now, the only person who's worthy is the person who's out there actually doing the job. So if you want to feel the worthiness of being able to do this great and awesome thing, start doing the work. The worthiness comes along with it. The unlimited potential is that we all have that ability. There's not a single one of us in here that can't start right where we are and begin to do it. Everybody can start doing the things that need to be done to move into that unlimited potential.
Okay, so look up, believe up, think up. I told Tim, I'm like, we cannot go very far in this without just trying to debunk people's filters. Because I know that people will sit here, y'all will sit here, and I know I've done the same thing where I've sat and listened to somebody, and in my head, I thought, well, I don't have what they have. I'm not as good as they are. I don't have the circle of influence that they do. They have more. And I just want to share a little bit about like my journey with that. I mean, first of all, I joined almost 7 years ago, and I joined somebody, Sonia Dudley, if you guys know who she is, but I joined a team, Sonia and her best friend Helen, that they were like flying through the ranks, and they were being so successful, and I am not her. Like, I'm not like her. I don't act like her. I'm not a country bumpkin. I can't grab people and look at them and be like, you're amazing. Like, it just doesn't come out the same way, you know? Like, I'm an introvert. She's an extrovert. The more people, that's what she wants to be in front of. Like, she wanted to be in front of crowds. She dreamed to be up on stage. And that was my worst nightmare. And so I joined people like that. And I Like, I wanted success, but I couldn't it was hard for me to visualize it because I was only looking through the filter of what I wasn't in comparison to the people that were being really successful. And it was like not until a moment, like I had a moment, and thankfully I had it pretty early on, but where I sat down and I thought, well, I can't be anybody but myself. And if I stay in this realm of like trying to add up to something that I'm totally not, I'm never going to get to where I want to be. And so I had to sit down and create how I was going to do this, Michelle Thomas, because that's all I am, that's all I know. And I was going to have to look to people that inspired me. And I was also going to have to compete with myself and nobody else. And thankfully I had been in a sales environment and I had had a lot of management training that I was able to use some of the previous skills. I knew that there was things that motivated people. So I was always looking for how to motivate people and how to encourage people. So I did have some skills in that, but I know that all of you guys have your own skills in that. And I think that that's sometimes where people make the biggest mistakes is that they're always looking at everybody else's giftings and talents, and they're forgetting that they have a ton of their own, and if they would just tap into that unlimited potential, they would tap into what they have inside of them, that's where all of the magic is going to happen. When they start competing with themselves and getting better every day, and because you cannot be anybody but yourself. Like, you're not going to turn into Katie. You know, you're not going to all of a sudden start singing like Nikki. I mean, some of us would love to, but I mean, unless you have that talent, that's not going to happen, or at least no one's going to want to come listen. You could try to sing like her, but I mean, people might not listen, and they're not going to like it. So you have to be you, and I feel like when you can take who you are and match it with our compensation plan and compete with yourself, that's when you cannot be stopped. And just get out of your own way. I want you to listen to tonight as if there's nothing going to hold you back. Years ago, and I was going to share this, we actually go through a slide about fear. I was going to share this years ago, but this has stuck with me, but I'll like never forget it. We lived in Ohio, and I was driving to work, and we were thinking about moving to Nashville. I was a retail manager at the time, and we were thinking about me transferring and moving to Nashville for the first time. And he was going to pursue music. And so he was like literally going to go and like record his songs and pursue music, and I was going to transfer, and we were just going to do it with our 3 kids, move away from family. And it was pretty frightening just to think about uprooting our life and doing that. And I was driving. I felt like clear as day. I felt like God spoke to me, and he said, like, what would you do in life if you feared nothing? And I come from like, I feel like I dealt with fear, like I deal and still it's still a daily struggle. I have dealt like my whole life with fear, like irrational fears, fear of like just, and you guys know what fear is. It's telling you, it's like, I heard someone say the other day, like fear is like living this horrible life of things that never happened. You know what I mean? Like you're living in this like horrible horror story that never happens. And it's like, you could just choose to write a different story, to tell a different story, but most of the time we go through our whole life and we never choose to change that in our life. And so we live in this constant place of fear. And so I remember clear as day like that in my life, but through Plexus, I was very fearful when I joined. I was scared to post on social media. I didn't have a lot of Facebook friends. I didn't have, we had moved to a place where I didn't know anybody. I had to choose to do things that were uncomfortable, and it didn't come easy for me. Like my 6.5 years, anybody that knows me 6.5 years ago and know me right now, like I am a different person. I would hope for the better, but I'm a different person, and I know it's because I've grown. And so don't look through the filters tonight of thinking what you're not, but thinking about what is possible. We want you guys to look up, believe up, think up, and go up. And I believe that when you look inside, that's when you can actually, when you look inside and you evaluate those things, I don't believe, in this business, I don't believe 1 + 1 = 2. I believe that when you activate faith, and you move and you walk in this with faith and belief, it's exponential what can happen in your life. Things come when you start planting seeds. Like, God didn't put that in the Bible where it's like you plant seeds and reap a harvest. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's like you plant seeds, you reap a harvest of a lot. And I believe that when you start planting seeds to get really serious about your business, people come out of the woodwork. It's like people that you weren't talking to come out of the woodwork. I mean, Tim and I always say, every time we get serious about this and we activate faith in our life and we get really serious about what we're doing, things happen. Surprises. Surprises. A new runner, takes off. And faith is activated, and that's when exponential growth happens. It's not drudgery at that point. And so we want you to be able to work this, flex this with hope and faith and belief and have fun, not with like a drudgery, not with fear that you have to hold so tight that you're going to lose everything, that you end up squeezing the life out of your business. And that would be working out of scarcity. We don't want you to work out of scarcity. We want you to work out of abundance. So
I'm going to say this too about unlimited potential. The belief that we're talking about here, guys, it's easy to believe in your business. It's easy to believe in Plexus when everything's just soaring and taking off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of fun. Okay, but the truth is that anybody in here who's going to make anything out of it, is going to be a leader and sustain it and keep it, is going to not have just these times. They're going to have these times too. Anybody who's going to do this and sustain it for the long term is going to have some of this. The thing about believing in unlimited potential and really in realizing it in your life is that the belief is only important when things aren't going well. That's why you have belief. That's the whole point. And I truly, actually, in my heart, believe that God brings those times into our lives to test us, to teach us about something that's really important to Him, which is faith. Because it's impossible, the Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith. So if we're to actually live the way that God intended, there's got to be some of those dark times in our life in order for that opportunity to have belief and faith to come out of us so that we become something different than just somebody that rides a roller coaster all the time and is up and down with all of the emotion. It's important for us in our soul to learn belief. And so what's really cool is that God gave us this great vehicle like Plexus to be able to teach us that. It's not just to make the money. It's not just to help people with their health. Those are great things, but it's also helping us in our souls.
yes.
All right.
So, new challenges. Everybody is going to reach different levels, different seasons, and, we just want to share, and we just want to be like real and vulnerable about our personal seasons in Plexus, because I think we've had more seasons of challenges than we've had of just explosive growth. I mean, we have had seasons where we were moving at one point. We had decided, Plexus gave us the freedom where we can move. I had to hit Emerald. Tim was on his way to Emerald, and we were making good money. I mean, probably $15,000 a month or more at this point. And things were good. We can raise our 3 kids on that. We didn't want to stop there, but that's where we were. And so we were in Florida, and our family was all up in Ohio. And so we decided we're going to move back to Ohio. And we're going to take our kids back by family. So we moved back to Ohio. We get back there, and our business comes to like a screeching halt. Like, I don't know what happened, but it's like everybody just dispersed or something. And I remember, like, that was the summer Katie actually joined our team that summer. I think about that because God brings people in your life during seasons when you need it the most. But anyways, that summer, things just kind of, it just felt like nobody was working their business. And I sat down, we had moved back to a small town in Ohio. And I'm like, Tim, but where are you going to get a job out here in the middle of cornfields? Everybody, you have to either be like a doctor or I don't even know what he's going to do. I don't know. And so we were just like, what's happening? And I sat down and I'm like, we are 2 months away from me losing Emerald rank. And he was going backwards in his team, and we were just like, what is going on? And I remember Tim's like, it's okay. And I'm kind of like, can be the sky is falling, and Tim is like, it's okay. Like, it's going to be fine. And he told me, he kept telling me, he's just like, God's going to give me a plan. Like, God's going to give me a plan. And God's going to give us a plan. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm just going to believe that. And so he, like, woke up one morning, and he's like, God gave me the plan. And I could tell you what it was, but it's not going to matter for you. Like, that's not the point. But for where we were, he just was like, God gave me a plan. And it was like, all it was just, it changed our mindset to believe for something. And we can't even, to this day, we can't pinpoint exactly what it was, but 6 months later, I was diamond. I'm not even joking. And I'm just going to tell you, right at that moment, Katie had joined our team. Katie could get customers all day long, but she could not recruit to save her life when she started. Okay? So I called her, and I'm just going to tell you, these are things, because when you start to believe something bigger for your life, your business, for your family, then you walk differently. You talk differently. You speak things into existence that are not there. That is creative. God was the creator. He put creativity inside of you, and he actually wants you to walk that out. Like, that's faith. And so at that season of our life, Katie had just joined, and I like to tell that story because exponential growth came out of that season of hardship for us. And she was bringing in customers because I think people, her and her mom, Sarah, buys everything from anybody. And so all the other people that have supported all the other network markets, they're like, oh, we better go buy from Katie. She's doing something now. So she got a lot of customers, but she wasn't bringing anybody into the business. And right at that summer, I said, we're coming. I said, you better fill a room. We're coming. And we came. She had probably 15 people there, 20 people. By the end of that weekend, most all of them had signed up. And we came back every month until she was Emerald, the first Emerald in West Virginia. So I tell you that story because I don't care where you're at in this business. I don't care if you feel like you've lost your whole team. I don't care if you went backwards. I don't care if you don't have one person. Like, God has put you in this place tonight to hear this message, and that you can go as far and as wide and as deep as you want to with whatever belief you're going to choose to have. And if you have enough faith to believe, God will give you the plan. I mean, we are so overtrained. Listen, we're overtrained, over-inspired. We have more than enough. We have every training around every corner, and some of us will listen to 2 days of this training, and we're like, I already know all that. We better go listen to something else. We already know we know so much. You guys know the stuff. We know so much. It's about taking what we know, activating it in our faith, and just running. And inspiring the crap out of everybody. Because most people live in a life where they don't believe that. They don't believe that they have unlimited potential. They don't believe that they have something that God put inside them. They don't believe they have a purpose. If you walk around and believe that in your heart that you have a purpose, you're not going to just build, just like Bob Heilig says, you're not going to build a downline. You're going to change the world. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm preachy.
She's getting preachy. I like it.
We're like on slide 3, so I'm
Okay.
going to calm down.
Okay. You guys, the dream is something more than just, as I mentioned earlier, something that you can reach to. The dream is like your heartbeat. Okay? The dream is like breathing. The dream is like needing to eat, needing to sleep. It's a part of you. It's a part of what you are, who you are. What happened was, when you were born, you didn't come into this world going, well, I better make my heart beat. You didn't come into this world saying, I better eat. It was just something that was a part of being here. It was a part of who you are and what you are. The dream is much like that, except it's actually even more important, because the dream is what gives reason to your heartbeat, to breathing, to eating, to sleeping. It gives it a purpose. The dream is about who you are. It's the value that you have. It's God's finger mark, God's fingerprint on your life. The dream is the reason why you're here. It says that you are more. I don't care if you had bad parents. I don't care if you grew up and somebody abused you. I don't care if people say bad things about you. I don't care if you think you're ugly. I don't care if, maybe a pastor said something to you at some point that you feel like just totally devastated you. I don't care if you're in debt up to your eyeballs or if you've been in prison. The dream says to you, you're more than that. It's not about those things. The dream knows who you are, and it's calling you, and it's telling you, you're more than that. There's something inside of you that I placed there, and I want to bring that out. It's calling you to live in faith. There is a cost, though, to the dream, and this is the problem. This is the problem. We all want to believe, oh man, there's something really great inside of me. We all want to believe that because it's true. We know it's true. It's deep down inside. It won't leave you alone. It keeps telling you that all the time. There's something great inside of you. Every day when you wake up, it's like, deep down inside, there's something you're being called to. But on the other side of it, there's this thing. There's a cost. There's a cost to the dream. You also know that it's going to take effort. You know that it's going to mean that you're going to have to put yourself out there and do something that's scary. It's going to mean that you're going to have to maybe take some ridicule sometimes. Some people might not like you, might not like some of the things that you say. You might look stupid sometimes when you're pursuing the dream. That's the whole thing about the dream is like, it's out there. Like I said earlier, if it's not extreme, it's not a dream. Okay? But the good news is, well, it's kind of good news. The thing is that it costs you more to not go after the dream. Because if you don't understand what it is that's inside of you and pursue it with all of your heart, then there's a part of you that's dying right now. The most important part of you is dying. The part of you that gives you a reason for being here is dying. So that's going to cost you way more.
And I think that I actually love this whole part of pursuit and the dream and not, knowing that there's a cost, because I think that when you embrace that in your life, it's not just Plexus. Plexus becomes just a part of the picture. I mean, for us, for as long, we've been married now 19 years, 19 and a half years. And for our whole life, we had wanted to do business together. We had wanted to, we both believed that there was a calling, that we wanted to speak into people's lives. We wanted to inspire people. And it's like through what we have in Plexus, it's like a jumping point off of other things that we can do. And it's like through this business, we're meeting people that want more out of life. I mean, because we all know health is just one aspect. When people get serious about their health, it's like a whole picture. They want to not just, most of the time they are unhealthy and then they've been dealing with depression and then they don't feel like they're being a good mom and a wife and they know they want more out of life. It's like, it's so much more than giving them the pink drink or active or the Probiotic 5. This is about the person. And every person has value to bring to this business, to their life, this world. They all have that circle of influence they could be a ripple effect to. And so I think that's why it's important, that slide, look up, go up, move, start thinking up, because you're more than just, a pink drink slinger. There's depth to what you do. I can look at my life and think about Sonia Dudley, who brought it to my life, and she didn't just bring, some weight loss. She brought a future. I'm talking, it changed our future. And, that's the power that we have in this.
Amen to that.
All right, fear. So before that we do that, we'll do a couple giveaways real quick, just to keep you guys alive. Okay, let's see. Who wants to pick a number? Tracy, between 1 and 34. 30, Bree Bodkins.
Thanks, girl.
All right. Okay, and these are, a lot of these giveaways are courtesy of Sarah Williams, so please hug her next. All right, you want to pick a number? Yeah. Between 1 and 34. 50. Tracy Kirk. See how that happens. All right, Tracy, water bottle.
I love it.
Okay. Let's just do one more.
Hey.
Susan Scott. Look at you. All right, Susan, you want the duffel bag?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I won last night too.
I know, oh, that's a sign. That's a sign.
I am supposed
Okay. Fear. This is like one of my favorite topics because even last night when I went to walk up here, I felt like afraid. Like afraid of like that I wasn't going to say the right stuff, that I wasn't going to know enough, that someone's going to ask me a question that I don't know. And like I said last night, if someone put a gun to my head and said, tell me all the ingredients in the Slim or you're dying, I would be dead. Okay? Like, I don't know science. That's not my strength, okay? Other people, you would go to some other Diamonds meeting, and it would be like mind-blowing of all the medical, like all the science and all the ingredients. That's not me. Like, I don't live in that world. I have to know enough, and I have to be able to direct people to the information, and I have to know where to get that information. But fear is just that constant story that's being told to you that is not truth. It's just not true. I love, this week a lot of us, and Plexus was doing the Revive Your Downline Challenge. Did everyone? Some of you did it. You guys back there? Okay. And I love how he talks about the red light, green light story. Do you guys like that? Well, basically, in case you weren't there, like I love this, it's basically like you think of these prospects, for example, or you think about doing a live video, or you think about whatever, you need to do, and that is stopping you. And the part of what stops you is you create red light stories. So basically, like, you think of that person that needs to join your team, and you're like, the red light, an example would be, well, that person is too successful, or that person would never join me because of whatever reason you give. Like, that's a red light, so it stops you. Well, instead of creating, or like, I want to go live, but I might sound stupid. That's like a red light. Or I don't know what I'm gonna say, or people might think I'm stupid, or no one's gonna comment, or I might not get enough likes, or whatever. Those are all red light stories because what's a red light do? It stops you in your tracks. And so instead of those red light stories, what if we created green light stories? So basically, if we think about these people and we're like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to this person, like, well, why wouldn't she want to join me? Okay, like, she's successful, there's so much opportunity in Plexus. And we start telling ourselves a green light story. Oh. Before, but I've struggled, like, fear has been something that has been a very, like, debilitating thing in my life. And it's not something, I don't think that fear is ever something that can just go away. Like, it's like not like I'm going to wake up one day and I'm not going to struggle with fear anymore. And so, we were writing out this whole 6-week curriculum that we do with people that take our Rock the Dream course. And we really started thinking about fear. And I had such fear of public speaking that when I was almost a gold ambassador, my upline said, we're gonna go and we're gonna do a 4-meeting tour around Ohio. And I said, okay. I said, I'll go, but do not say my name. Don't make me stand up. I'm not sharing my testimony, and I'm not saying a word. I was so afraid of just being on the spotlight. Like, I don't like to be put on the spot. And so I like to put others on the spot, but I don't like to be put on the spot. And so we went and did those meetings, and I was like, she listened to me. She didn't make me stand up and do a testimony or anything else. But at one point, she said something, and I had to stand up, and I remember just that wave of just like the rush of the blood. Like, I felt like I couldn't speak almost. Like, I was so intensely afraid to stand up in front of people. I wouldn't play charades, not even in front of just my family. Not even in front of Tim. I would not act anything. I still struggle with acting, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
I'm not an actress, okay? So acting is not.
It's beautiful.
On a side note, okay, so Tim is trying to get me to do this video, okay? And he wrote out like the words to say, and I'm supposed to say the words. And so we're sitting in front of the video. I showed this to Sarah. It's like a 10-minute long train wreck. And so every time Tim would speak, and then it was my turn, and I'd be like, and I go,
Say it like this, Michelle.
He go,
and she said, okay.
I'd be like,
She wouldn't do it. And he'd go, okay.
I go, and nobody's there. I mean, we're just recording this. This isn't even like in front of a crowd. I would be like, he goes, say, it's time to tear down the walls. And I was like, it's time to tear down the walls. I wouldn't even say it that good. That was way better. He's like, no, like, you say it like you believe it. Like, it's time to tear down the walls. He's like, no. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying. Fear. I was so scared. I was so scared. And I remember coming back from those meetings, and I listened to something, and it just said, the person with the marker makes the money. And here's the thing, I was afraid. But I was also, we were in a place financially where I didn't like either. You know, so which pain was I going to embrace more? The pain of doing something uncomfortable, or the pain of continuing to have to literally stay at home with my kids because we can't afford to go anywhere? Because, I mean, you're going to choose something. You're always choosing something. You know, like whether or not you choose to make this business work for you and you choose to go all in and have financial breakthroughs in this, or else you don't, but you're choosing something. You're going to choose it either way. So I was afraid of all those things. And I just remember the day I decided to do a meeting, the day I decided to stand up in front of everybody, the day I decided to do a live video. Like, I'm here to tell you, you guys have way more in you than you give yourself credit for, because if I look back almost, 7 years ago, I was and still am afraid in a train wreck a lot of the time. Like, whatever I'm not comfortable with, it's bad, right? Like, I have to really, like, it doesn't come easy to me. Like, I have to really work at certain things because I want it more than all of the discomfort. Like, I want it more. And so I had to learn that every day the fear still stayed. And how was I going to overcome the fear? You don't wake up without fear, but you have to build your faith. And I just had to believe that if I overcame fear with faith, because you can't, and here's the thing about doing that, is that the only way to actually get through your fear and walk in faith is to actually not just know you're fearful, but embrace the fear, walk through the fear to the other side, which is faith. Like, you actually have to, like, hug fear. You have to face it, do it anyways, suck sometimes. Like, I'm talking, like, my mom hated that word. Suck. I'm an adult now, I can say it. I always got in trouble when I said that. Yeah, she Anyways, you have to really be bad sometimes in order to like walk through that and get to the faith part, but it just doesn't go away.
Just one analogy that I give to the faith and fear thing is, fear is kind of like junk food. We think when we're having fear that we're being fed. Fear, because what fear tells us is, you know what? You're right. You probably shouldn't do that because you're going to mess up and you'll look like a fool, and you don't want to look like a fool. All these people out here that are trying these things, they all look like fools, and you don't want to look like them. So you should stay where you're at and just stay quiet. You'll be fine. You won't have to worry about what people are going to think. Stay small. And so what fear is doing is it's feeding that part of you that wants to feel good about not doing something stupid, and it's feeding you this belief that that's a good idea. The problem is it leaves you empty in the long run because you don't accomplish or get anything out of life. You don't get anything out of it, right? You're eating a lot of empty carbs, bad things when you're going with fear. But faith, it's like the wholesome food. It's the food that feeds your soul. It's the food that says, you know what? Take action and do it. If you take action and do it, life will change. Things will improve. Yes, it's going to be tough, but it's much better for you. It might not taste as good as the junk food does right now, but in the long run, it's way better for you. So, yeah, I like that analogy. There you go. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit here. This is we're going to play a video for you, actually.
3 minutes,
3-minute
so
video.
don't let your ADD kick in.
Okay, but I just like this video. I like this is a guy named Rob Dyrdek. He's a famous skateboarder, but he's done a lot of other things. He's accomplished a lot of things in his life. Oh, we don't have any volume, do we? You want me to hold her? All right.
Brandon's such a good dad.
Sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, he's accomplished a lot of things in his life, and he's talking here about beliefs. So we're gonna listen to what he has to say about that.
About belief. Is it important? Is it a starting point?
It is the only thing that matters. It is literally the only thing that matters. Because your experience, how you build something, what you learn, whatever it is, anything that you achieve, it is literally only based off of how much you believe it's going to happen. Goals and all this stuff, all it is breaking it down into micro actions for you to understand it and believe it, right? And I think, there's two levels of it, right? It's why I love, from a business side, having tactical revenue models that show you step by step. We can grow this many units by this many months and this many doors over this much time. That's believable to execute. That's why goal setting in a specific way means so much, right? But at a 30,000 foot level, from a mentality standpoint, that unwavering self-belief is what I look for in people I partner with, because that's allows you to micro-fail and take big losses and take them as lessons and just move and chase down and constantly be doing micro-pivoting to achieve your bigger vision or your big goal, right? Because at the end of the day, it's only people that lose belief that quit. And belief gives you so much energy. And again, why when you begin to tie all these things together, especially from goals and planning aspect, it's easy to weather storms when you understand, okay, I've got to move around to get to the next pillar of this goal, rather than thinking like, none of this is going to work type of mentality, But it is the hardest thing to teach, right? I think it only comes with, I had so much success so early on, and all of my big risks that when they didn't work out, other big risks worked out behind it. There was this layering behind it that created such a deep self-belief that you have incredible patience. You have a deep understanding of who you are personally and what your bigger goal is and what you're setting out to achieve that you may not be able to articulate or make others fully understand, right? And I think it is what I seek the most in everybody that I do business with, right? That at least one person whose mind and eye and soul is behind this idea that has that deep, unwavering belief, because that's what it takes to truly find success, you know?
Okay, he says a lot there. Just would like to maybe ask you guys, what's something that jumped out at you in that? Sorry. What's something that jumped out at you in what he was saying there? Anybody want to be brave enough?
He said, people who lose belief quit.
That's right. That's right. Only people who lose belief quit. Right?
Belief is the only thing that matters.
Belief is the only thing that matters.
And it's harder because it can't be taught. The belief can't be taught.
Yeah.
Right? It's something that you have to choose it. You have to somehow get it yourself.
Well, and here's the other thing, it's not something that was specifically spoken, but between what you guys have said and he has said, basically fear is just unnecessary worry.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. And did you notice how what he was saying about how belief allows you to micro fail? It allows you to have those moments where you do have those down times. Belief is there during those down times for a reason, right?
I like the part, like, you can have the goals and like, all those things that we try to do, we set all this stuff, we're like, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna achieve this, but it's like, a lot of times we're missing the very thing that's the only thing that matters, which is belief. Like, we think that we're doing the right things, but in the back of our minds, we're like, I don't know that we'll ever get there. I don't believe that this is possible. I'm not as good as somebody else. And we do it with a lot of fear, a lot of like internal turmoil, and I'm just gonna self-sabotage, and I'm just gonna tell you, it shows.
Yeah.
And it comes out, because that's all that matters is belief. I think that if you have the most belief and you take action, you could be the biggest chaotic mess. Some of you guys are trying to create all these perfect systems and come up with these perfect goals, and that's not even what matters right now. You know, just run and share and create culture and love people and get in the weeds and just, you know, get dirty. Like, it doesn't, none of the other stuff really matters that much. Everybody's wanting this perfect system, and the truth is that if you survey 100 people at the top, they're all doing something different anyways. So is that really the most important thing, except for believing it for yourself and taking action? So I love that video.
I really, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
The part where he said unwavering self-belief, and he said, with a deep understanding of who you are, not what you can do, but who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought that was crazy.
And that right there, like, it brought me to tears a little bit. That's exactly rocking the dream. It's that you know who you are, you have unlimited, untapped potential. What anybody else thinks doesn't matter. Like, that's unwavering, like, self-belief. And that's exciting.
Yeah. It is exciting. It's the type of thing that gets me really pumped up and makes me want to go out and you know, take this Plexus business to the top and then keep going and keep doing a lot of other amazing things. You know, this slide says the danger of safety. I want to talk a little bit about that, about what it means to feel like safe. There's such a thing as feeling too safe. Our lives are not meant to be just safe. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but the truth is that as long as we feel too safe, as long as we feel really safe, then what's really happening is that fear that we've been talking about is winning. Okay? It's keeping us over here. That monster is over here, and it's saying, you better not come over this way. Well, okay, well, I'm gonna stay safe, I'm gonna stay back here. But that monster is supposed to be slain. That monster, you're supposed to defeat that monster, but you're back over here. But that monster's in the darkness. That monster's in the darkness. The thing about it is that we're not just dealing with the things in life that we're supposed to do here. There's also a part of us, we talked about this. It's about our souls too, okay? Because as long as we don't go out there and go after those giants that we're called to slay, those things that we're called to go out and do, there's actually darkness in our heart. Okay? If we're unwilling to go out there and conquer the darkness, then the darkness is winning inside of our heart. Okay? So there is a danger in being too safe. The thing about it is that we can't go from this place of feeling safe to overcoming without going through the fear, without going through those monsters. So the danger of safety is that we can become way too comfortable, and a lot of us are living our lives there, and that's where we've been our whole life. We've never really ventured out. Maybe you've never really taken a step to go out beyond where you're used to being. And so this whole idea, this whole thing is totally foreign to you. But the truth is that you've been called to do this. This is every single one of us is called to this. So don't get caught up in the idea that being safe is actually safe. Don't think that living your life the way that you have always lived it is the way is what's going to get you where you want to be. We've got to move through those monsters. Okay, so
All right, we're gonna do a little exercise. I know y'all are excited. Okay, so I've done this several times, and it has been really, really good for me. So, and it's really actually brought a lot of change in my life. And so we are going to get a piece of paper. So if you're taking notes, kind of start on a fresh piece of paper, because I want you to be able to like save this. And you are going to write, date this 1 year from today. So this is, I don't even know what date it is. July 19th, 2019.
220.
So 2020. Just kidding. Anyways, 1 year from today. Okay? So we're going to have 2020 vision, right? Into next year. Actually our coach told us that. So I can't take credit. Sounded good. Anyways, so we're gonna have 2020 vision into next year, and we are going to write this. You're going to write a letter telling what all happened this last year, but you're going to start with where you're at July of next year. You can be anywhere you want to be, in the business, in your life. I want you to think about things that you are desiring, your hopes, your dreams. Where do you want to be 1 year from now? And I want you to write this out as if it happened, and all the things that happened this last year leading up to it.
So let me just tell you first, before you start, that the first thing you're going to want to do is play small. I want you to play big. I want you to think about, like, okay, this is what I really would dream to happen. This is where I really would want to be. This isn't the time to. We're not sitting here doing this so that we can think, okay, well, I'm gold right now. I want to be senior gold by 2020. No, I want you to dream big, and I don't want you to play small. Okay,
and I want you to say specific things. The first time I did this, like this moves you to tears. The first time I did this, I said that corporate staff called me and asked me to speak in front of thousands of people at convention. I don't even know why it came out of my mouth. I don't even know. I was like, after I wrote it, I'm like, this is why am I writing this? Because deep down, your fears lead to your calling. And you know what happened? Corporate actually called me and invited me to speak that year at convention. Like, it was crazy. And so I want you to like allow yourself to write out things that is going to scare you to death. Like, just do it. Bring yourself there. So we're going to set a timer. We're going to do like 8 minutes. All right. Go ahead and go.
About 4 minutes left. Got 1 more minute.
Alright, we are going to just take like a few minute break. So if you guys wanna grab water, stand up, and then we're going to get into like
Stretch your legs.
the
Use your
second
legs.
part of this, which isn't gonna be as long, but I just want you guys to like, I don't know, that might have been heavy for some of you, so maybe you need to stand up and like, get a drink of water, and then we'll get back into it here in a few minutes.